The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
It's Tuesday night. Welcome to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We're presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Gozilla Media. My name's Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of the hosts of the show. To my right is a man who's getting ready to defend the mighty 518, the capital region. Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are we doing tonight?
This is my home, and I will defend it. To quote the great Kevin McAllister, we're going to defend our city. I'm doing well tonight. How about you? I had a long day at work, but this is the best part of the night right now. Getting in here with the cred heads, getting ready to chop it up about some baseball. But I'm ready to raring to go. I know you are. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Yeah, I'm fired up. I had a great day at work. I got a great day at work. I had great workout. I got my flirt on at the gym with the girl who makes the shakes. So I'm ready to go and talk some sports. I'm ready to go.
There we go. We'll jump right in.
All right. Before we get to anything, we need to just remind you about our social medias, which are right here: Twitter, Instagram, the scarcely used TikToks. I'm talking like Squirrely Dan from Letterkenny. TikTok at NoCredsREQ. Facebook.com /NoCredsREQ. YouTube.com /@NoCredsREQ. We also want to thank those of you who are watching on replay on Rumble. We just want to remind you to please like, comment, share, and subscribe to all of our social media channels right down here. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast on your preferred podcast platform, and that includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Good Pods, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, wherever you podcast. Rate and review. Give us a 5-star rating. And if you're on a platform where you can review this podcast, leave us a review. We might even read it on the air. And we also want to give a shout out to those listening on American Angel Radio, Wednesday at 8 a.m. Eastern. Thanks for stopping by for some quality sports talk. And of course, since this is a live show, we've got some comments already coming in the comment section. We want you to engage with the show. We want your comments. And Dustin, I know it's been a couple of days since we did our last show on Saturday morning, but I know you missed that beautiful, beautiful comment sound.
Always.
It'll make you feel better.
Yeah. Waiting for the magical chime.
And there you go. We got some comments in the comment section already. Mr. Kevin Wilson stopped by at 6:40 p.m. Eastern, giving us who's the worst team in Major League Baseball in the early going. I say it's the mess. I think he means the mess, the Mets.
I'm going to get some hate from Mets fans on this episode. I'll just throw it out. I'm warning everyone now.
Dr. Lady, is always, a lovely Dr. Lady Esquire, saying baseball and Sapna sports ball in cans. Of course, thanks for stopping by, y'all. We appreciate you. But we're gonna get into everything tonight. We're talking about opening week, the undefeated and the winless, and the undefeated includes. And I posted this on our Twitter channel today.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit Tigers. They're 4-0. Pittsburgh Pirates, they're 5-0. Milwaukee Brewers, they're 3-0. And the New York Yankees,
the New
5-0.
York Yankees.
Oh, I got an element coming in just a second here. So, all right. So let's talk about baseball. Let's talk about some baseball. Let's talk about the surprises of the season amongst the undefeated. And Dustin, I'm gonna have you lead off here in the leadoff spot. Of all the 4 teams that are still undefeated, which one of these teams is the most surprising to you? And I'm going to preface this by just giving our viewers and our listeners a heads up. It's a homer alert. Homer alert. Be aware. But Dustin, who you got as your most surprising team of the undefeated thus far in Major League Baseball in this very, very young season?
To me, and obviously, baseball's a marathon, not a sprint. We all know this, but hey, part of the show, we're going to react to what we want to react to. But it's the New York Yankees. It's the New York Yankees. They are the most surprising team. And I would argue, Ryan, that I am not being a homer by saying this. You are not being a homer by saying this. It's because of who the Yankees played to open the season. If you had asked me if the Yankees would be undefeated at this point in the season, I would have given you an emphatic no. And I remember you saying on Saturday, and I felt the same way about this, if they came out of Houston with a split, we would have been happy. Houston's a great team. And then to turn around and beat the Diamondbacks, who were, last I checked notes, runners up in last year. They lost the World Series last year to the Texas Rangers.
Yep,
the Diamondbacks,
National League champion.
Yeah, they are no slouch. The Diamondbacks, they're fast on the bases. They steal a lot of bases. They got Corbin Carroll out there, one of the best young players in the game right now. And also with Garrett Cole being on the shelf, one of the reasons for me that the Yankees, it's surprising that they're in this position. The pitching hasn't been phenomenal, but it's held up better than I would have expected considering those 2 teams. So it's got to be the Yankees for me. And I want to get your thoughts. Who's the biggest surprise?
All right, I'm going to be very boring and very chalk here. But yes, it is
New York Yankees.
The New York Yankees!
Ruth, Gehrig, DiMaggio, Mantle, Costanza.
It's one of my favorite parts of the show. I love that. The amount of times, and I hope because last time he's like Beetlejuice. I spoke his name and he materialized in the comments. But the amount of times that my uncle and I do that to each other, complete with the hat turn if we're wearing them, is infinite amount of times. We've done it so many times.
Speaking of Yankees, I will be at Yankee Stadium on Monday.
Ooh,
that's gonna be a fun time because not only I'm not going because they're playing the Miami Marlins, whatever. It's a Yankee game, but it's also the solar eclipse.
Oh yeah,
so
April 8th.
Happening during the game. It's a 2:05 start. I think they specifically did that because they wanted to have the eclipse go over the state of New York, including, I guess that includes the Bronx, during the baseball game. So I'm going to be witnessing history at a ball game, which is pretty
awesome.
Cool.
Awesome. I know. If I know you use that SeatGeek promo code. You got yourself a little deal.
I did not. But,
oh no!
But that's okay.
I'm
okay.
Sorry.
No, that's quite all right. It's quite all right. But it's not a big deal. They had a promotional for if you use. I have a MasterCard, so I figured use that.
Yep.
But yeah, let's just talk about this Yankees team. All right. First, as you mentioned, Dustin, they sweep the Astros, ASSTROS. In Houston, on the strength of not 1, not 2, but 3 comeback wins in that series, particularly Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And on Sunday, they scored the first runs and they managed to keep the lead. Juan Soto bringing in that that game-winning RBI in the 9th inning. Juan Soto is a huge part of that reason. Again, and 3 comeback wins. Then they go to the desert. Take it to the National League champion Diamondbacks in the first game of a 3-game stint. And they're playing tonight. Now, let's talk about this. Let's talk about why the Yankees are 5-0 right now. The reason why the Yankees are 5-0 is because their bullpen has been spectacular. They have been, up until up until yesterday's game in Arizona, they hadn't allowed a run at all in relief. And starting pitching, look, Nestor had a rough outing against the Astros. Carlos Rodon gutted it out for 4 innings.
He did.
Through 80 plus pitches. Gutted it out. Stroman had a strong performance.
He did, and I saw the movement on his pitches of the parts of that game that I saw. Nasty movement on some of the pitches. If he can pitch like this, but it's a huge if. And we'll go back to your quote of we'd much rather have 2017 Marcus Stroman, But if he can get his movement going like it was on a couple of the pitches that I saw during this game, if he's going right, he still has talent, and I think he's proved it very early so far this season.
Yeah, Clark Schmidt had a decent outing on Easter Sunday, and Luis Hill had a pretty solid outing yesterday in Arizona. So tonight, Nestor Torres is back on the mound. So I'm curious to see how he'll bounce back against the Diamondbacks, a pretty solid Diamondbacks lineup. And again, the defending National League champions. But the bullpen's been spectacular. And with the exception of the usual suspects, and I got to make an element for this, the Judge and Stanton Fan Company, where every swing brings a cool breeze. The Yankees have been exceptionally patient at the plate, and I think they're taking their lead from Juan Soto. And got to remember, Juan Soto, he's led the majors in walks the last 3 seasons. So his patience at the plate, and he's coming, and they haven't played a game at home yet. So I can't wait to see what he does with that short porch in right field at Yankee Stadium. And I'll see it myself on Monday.
Yeah, but, fantastic. Opportunistic, sir, you are.
Oh, yeah. Don't forget it. But this Yankees team, it's different. Now, we got a comment in the comment section from co-founder of Belly Up Sports, Blaine Napier, who says, quote, Yankees won't last for long. But he also mentions the Tigers are surprising for sure. But let's talk about who the Tigers have played so far. The Tigers have played the White Sox and the Mets, who we'll get to in just a moment.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give credit where credit's due. They don't ask how, they ask how many.
Mm-hmm.
So now, Tigers are 4-0, leading the Central Division. I'm pretty sure Julie from Michigan is all up ons, and she's dancing like crazy because her Tigers are in first place.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So as you said, though, credit to where it is due, and Jason Foley seems to have locked down that closer role. For those of you who are wondering, I know I am, because I drafted the Detroit closer on my fantasy team. Bring out the crow. But I did get Jason Foley. Don't worry, everybody. I got Jason Foley to replace Alex Lang. Dropped him. But anyway, I do have to deduct some points in this hypothetical scoring system. Sorry, Julie, don't come after me. Your Tigers, as you pointed out, still 4 wins. 4 wins are 4 wins. But they did it against the White Sox, who appear to be just woeful this year. And we will get to them and the aforementioned New York Mets. But still, the Tigers, you got to give them credit. And hey, if they could somehow win the Central Division, wouldn't that be fantastic? That would be a nice surprise.
Yeah.
But I have to ask you, Ryan, I've been dying to know since we put together the show rundown, are you going to buy into the Pirates again this year? Because we both bought into their hot start last year, and I'm not getting swept in this time. I'm not getting swept in.
I will say this. I am cautiously optimistic about the Pirates. Just like I would be cautiously optimistic about the Reds. And I'll tell you why, because the Reds, Matt McClain's out indefinitely. I believe he had surgery on his labrum. So that usually indicates he's going to be out for a while. I talked about this with my nephew Christian, CJ Boost, on Sunday. We talked about this during shortly after dessert at my brother's house. And I said, I'm high on the Reds. also got my eye on the Pirates. They just need to stay healthy because remember what happened last year. The Pirates got off to that really hot start.
They did.
And O'Neal Cruz broke his ankle sliding into home plate.
Mm-hmm.
I remember correctly, he got blocked at home plate and he twisted his ankle in a weird way and he broke his ankle. He was out until July. And that was basically the Pirates season right there.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I'm super high in the Reds. I'm watching the Pirates like you would if you're the U.S. Navy, but any kind of Pirates are all. But 4 wins. They sweep Miami in Miami, and I forgot who they played. Washington. They got a series against Washington. So Miami's gonna be a tough. Miami's a tough team. They've been. I believe they were a wild card winner. They went to the wild card last year.
Yes,
or they've been to the wild card a couple times the last couple of years. So it's not that they're a bad team. They're just there.
Yes, and I will say about the Marlins though, what you have to watch with them if they ever get some offensive talent aside from Jazz Chisholm, they'll be a force to be reckoned with because their pitching is good. Their pitching, they have Yuri Perez, who he started the season on the IL so far, but he is what looks to be a dominant starting pitcher for them. So if he comes back healthy, watch out. Max Meyer, decent pitcher. Jesus Luzardo, and AJ Puck. He did not have the best start to the season, but he is a talented pitcher. So Miami's got some good arms in their rotation. Their problem is going to be offense.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the 2023 standings and they were a wild card team last year. They scored, and I feel I'm going to do cross when I do this, 666 runs, allowed 723.
Ooh.
So yeah, while their run production is bereft, like you said, Dustin, they have really good pitching. And I also got to hand it to the Milwaukee Brewers again. They played the Mets.
Oh yeah,
they played the Mets. Their first game was postponed. For
the rain, I think it was.
It was a rain out. So they're currently in a series with Milwaukee Brewers. Come on, where are you?
The Brew Crew.
The Brew Crew.
We should see that, if I was Otis and Oliver's, a great local beverage center around here, I would reach out to the Milwaukee Brewers and see, hey, can we do some kind of endorsement deal?
They're in a series with the Twins, and they're actually now 4-0. They won today 3-2 in an early game. So I mean, Milwaukee's not a team to sneeze at either. I mean,
no.
And they won the Central last year.
Yes. Yeah, Milwaukee, and a controversial take maybe, but Milwaukee, I love their updated uniforms, which is kind of a re-envisioning of their old throwback. Some of the best uniforms in all of Major League Baseball right now. I might get myself, if I didn't think it would make me look like an extreme poser, I would get myself a Milwaukee Brewers hat just because I think it looks awesome.
Oh, that logo is classic. That logo is super classic. Because I remember those days, Robin Yount, I'm trying to think who else, Cecil Fielder.
Cecil was. He was a bad man.
It's a bad man. So we've talked about the undefeated. Let's talk about the winless teams. We've got 3 winless teams in Major League Baseball still. We have, surprisingly, not the Oakland A's. They actually went up to get in Cleveland against Cleveland in their season against Cleveland. So the Chicago White Sox, they're 0-4. New York Mets, 0-3. And the aforementioned Miami Marlins, they're 0-5. So out of the 3 teams that I mentioned, Dustin, which one of these teams do you think will be the first to 100 losses? And again, we're not counting the A's, we're not counting the Nationals, or as I like to call them now, the Walgreens. We're not talking the Kansas City Royals. They've all got wins. They got W's. They've got W's. I'm talking about the teams that currently have 0 in the W column. Mm-hmm. Which one of these 3 teams will be the first to 100 losses? Or will any of these teams break 100 losses this season?
Well, of the teams that have no W's, just like apparently the outgoing Clinton administration did when George W. Bush won the election against Al Gore, they removed all the W's from the computers.
Yeah.
So I just
that.
find that that's so ridiculous that I find any excuse to bring it up, as I just did. But anyway, that was a long reach. Thanks for going with me, everybody. Now,
You dislocated your shoulder. That reach was so far.
I know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to recover. But anyway, it's a toss-up between two teams for me, but I think I'm going the White Sox. I mean, the White Sox, they look awful. They look totally awful. And you can have a game where Kenta Maeda, recently signed Detroit Tiger, comes out and pitches. Now, he did have some pockets where he looked good for the Twins last year. And then, but he's dealt with some injury. Kenta's getting up there in age. One-time Dodger pitcher, Kenta Maeda, I think. He's looked good for pockets of his career. But he did not look good when he played the White Sox. He gave up, I forget how many home runs. We'd have to go back and look in the Discord because Julie was not happy.
She was beside herself. Let's just put it that way.
But then the White Sox still lost the game. Still.
Yep.
Still. And then look at the other game that they lost as well. The Tigers beat them 1-0. 1-0. The White Sox couldn't muster anything. They just look awful. And this is, I don't mean to sound disrespectful with this at all, but the Chicago White Sox must be desperate for pitching help because they went out. I saw while I was bowling last night, it flashed across the bottom line on the old 4-letter network there. The White Sox went out and they signed Mike Clevenger. You want to know what Mike Clevenger's record for them was last year? He was 9-9 in 24 games with an ERA of 3.77. And given the way that the season has started for the White Sox, he could be their number 2 starter. Who knows? I mean, this is just – I think the White Sox are on their way to 100 losses. But we're going to have to talk about the Mets. I'll get to them. But first, your thoughts, sir.
Yeah, again, I'm going to be boring here. I think the White Sox are going to be I think they'll be the first – I think between them and Oakland and Washington, it's going to be a race to 100 losses.
Yeah,
and I think the White Sox could accomplish 100 losses by Labor Day, because you could kind of see the writing on the wall. You know they're in a rebuild because they have a new GM. I believe they have a new manager, and you kind of knew they were going to tank when they set Tim Anderson adrift. He's now playing with Miami, who's another winless team, but I don't expect them to be. I expect them to climb back.
Mm-hmm.
And they traded Dylan Cease to San Diego for prospects. One of them being the Yankees number, I believe, was the number. He's one of their prospects who was involved in the Juan Soto trade.
Oh yes.
So the White Sox are rebuilding. They're clearly in a rebuild, and I mean, with all the rumors going around that their lease with Guaranteed Rate Park is going to be up soon, and they might be looking to relocate elsewhere. The Nashville White Sox, anyone?
Jeez.
But those are just rumors. That's just speculation. I don't anticipate the White Sox ever moving, period. But yeah, I think out of the 3 teams, the White Sox are clearly the worst. They're going to lose 100 games for sure. The Mets are a close second, and they went into the 10th inning last night, in a scoreless tie with Detroit.
Yeah.
Detroit put a 5 spot on them in the extra frame, and they lost 5-0. That is just awful.
Oh yeah.
It's funny. I was listening to my buddies Levac and Gaz today. Shout out to my guys Levac and Gaz. Great guys. Shout out. Gaz was mentioning how he played Edwin Diaz's theme, his walkout music, the Timmy trumpets, and his kids thought it was so cool. I think his oldest is 3, his youngest is 1. They thought it was so cool. Oh, I love the trumpets. Look, I'm doing a trumpet, and he basically turned them into Mets fans. And I said to him and Levac after the show, I said, guys, since you've put it upon your kids to be Mets fans because of Timmy trumpets, I'm willing to give you 2 free weeks of BetterHelp to start their therapy. And I said, I'll give them a full month if they become Jets fans too.
Yeah. No, this is.
I feel for our friends who are Mets fans.
Mm-hmm.
There are plenty of them around. I have plenty of friends who are Mets fans, although they wouldn't publicly admit it. But yeah, they're a bad team too. And Uncle Stevie promised to spend money, but it's not working out so far.
Yeah, it's not looking good, and this is where I'm going to get hate from Mets fans.
Hate.
But I'm just stating facts. The Mets they always get caught up in trying to compete with the Yankees. They can't ever just focus on. They're even Cohen coming out. He's like, we're going to change it. We're going to spend money. We're going to spend with the big spenders. Well, the Yankees aren't the biggest spenders anymore in baseball.
Not anymore.
You can't lob that at the Yankees. I used to get into heated debates with Red Sox fans because they would act like the Yankees would outspend any team in that. And I'm sitting there, I'm going, you're trying to tell me the Red Sox are a small market team? Go ahead and,
no.
don't act like you're put upon and you just can't compete. You got a lot of money too. That was always my comeback. But the Mets, New York, baseball wise, New York is a quote unquote Yankee town. It is what it is. There are many, many, many Mets fans, and they love their team, and I can respect it. But I think management has always had a problem with trying to compete for headlines with the New York Yankees, trying to take the sports pages from the New York Yankees. And as a result, they've gone out and they've made some quote unquote splashy signings. I would have never signed Verlander. He's a great pitcher, but he's older now. And guess what happened? He got injured, and they went out and they signed Scherzer, I believe, or they acquired. I can't remember.
Max Scherzer. They signed him as a free agent last year.
Yeah, they're trying to sign him, and this is not. Julie from Michigan knows this is not Scherzer and Verlander of the Detroit Tigers circa 2005. It's not what you're getting. Both those guys are great pitchers, but they're older now. The Pedro Martinez signing from years ago. Mets fans will curse Omar Manaya's name to this day. The things that they did with the former Twins pitcher who was so good for such a long time. His name
Juan Santana.
Yes.
Johan Santana.
Yes, Johan Santana. Thank you. He was escaping me for a while, but they always seem to be concerned with trying to make their own splash instead of just and of course Uncle Stevie, as you called him, he went out and he made all these big proclamations and all these talks. And then they turn around. Because I watched the game on Saturday. I watched the game on SNY. I was looking for baseball. I was doing some stuff around the house. I wanted to take a little break. And so I believe it was at Citi Field. So I get it. And Mets fans haven't seen their closer in a very long time. But they signed Luis Severino to a deal, which I had forgotten about. But I would not have made that deal. You look what he did for the Yankees. There were spots where he showed what he could be, but he couldn't stay healthy. And then when he would come back, he would have problems with control, and he was always dealing with something. How are the Mets going to go out and make that signing thinking that it's going to go well? because I get it. It's early in the season, but guess what happened? He got shelled. He got shelled by the Milwaukee Brewers. And then the Mets come charging all the way back. They come charging all the way back. And when I turned the game off because I had to leave, it was 6-5 Brewers. The Mets were making a comeback. They put their closer in the game. The trumpets sounded, and I was watching on SNY. It was funny. They went to widescreen and they put, the camera angle changed. And I'm like, what is this? The pomp and circumstance. On one hand, I was like, this is a nice touch. But on the other hand, all I could think about, and I'm going to sound like a spoiled Yankee fan, but Mariano Rivera coming out of the bullpen to enter Sandman was a vibe. And I get that that's the Mets closer is very good. Diaz is very good. And I'm not taking that away from it, but it just the change of the camera angle in the presentation on the broadcast, I'm like, they're trying to put this atmosphere in place that isn't there. I'm sure at the stadium it's a different situation, because I've been at the stadium when Enter Sandman played, and you don't get the same vibe on TV. But the whole changing of the camera angle and shifting to the wide lens to watch him run in, and then guess what? The Mets lost 7-6. It's just I don't know. All I can say is I hate to say it, but they're too concerned with their neighbors, their New York neighbors, and they got to start making signings just to improve the Mets and stop trying to compete with the Yankees. Be yourselves, Mets management, and give your fans something to cheer about.
Speaking of the Mets, Rhys Hoskins took on all the Mets on Friday afternoon. And what we're going to do is we're going to watch a couple things. The first thing we're going to look at is the slide heard round Queens. And we had this topic brought up in conversation on our Discord channel. Julie brought it up, was asking about it and what we all thought. I watched the breakdown on John Boy Media. John Boy did a great job breaking it down with all the hoopla and slide itself and the aftermath and the lip reading. So we're going to take a look at that real quick. So we're going to share my screen. We're going to do this. So here's the slide.
So they call the out on the transfer, and then I'll tell you what. I think letter of the law, it is a clean slide. Yeah.
But the problem is McNeil, if you watch it again.
Oh, yeah.
Watch his left leg. It folds. This could have been a serious injury. See how that left leg folded underneath him? And that's what made McNeil angry.
And you don't see it in today's game. Well, that's the thing. If you're a second baseman these days, you almost...
All right, Dustin, weigh in. What do you think?
Oh, again, I'm going to sound like a jerk, but this is my first time seeing this because I missed this. But to me, that just looks like nothing about that looks intentional to me. It just looks like one of those plays, and thank goodness McNeil wasn't injured on that play. But to me, it didn't look malicious going in, trying to, my thoughts on it preliminarily are that it wasn't a malicious act. I don't think so. That just looks like one of those plays, just something about the angles, things going on. I don't think that the Brewers player went in there with an intent to hurt anybody, but I don't know what you think about it.
Well, I thought it was late, but it was clean.
Yeah.
And for Mets fans, it brought back really bad memories of and Rhys Hoskins was with the Phillies last year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember Chase Utley.
Yeah, Chase Utley. Yeah.
From the Dodgers sliding into Ruben Tejada and fracturing his leg back in the day. It was the 2015 NLDS. And Mets fans already hated Chase Utley because he was a Philly.
Yeah.
They now hate Rhys Hoskins more. But then they didn't show the dust up afterwards where the bench is cleared. And McNeil and Hoskins were going at jaw jacking each other, and Rhys Hoskins was doing this motion, try some more, throwing F-bombs at each other. Watch the John Boy reaction. I love John Boy Media. He does really great breakdowns of simple plays, like that. And he said the same thing. It was late, but it was clean, and it really didn't affect the play because McNeil, as it was said in the broadcast on SNY, again, the video courtesy of SNY, McNeil lost on the transfer. He lost the ball in the transfer, so he would have been safe. Hoskins would have been safe anyway.
Yeah.
But it didn't end there.
Oh, boy.
It didn't end there because the next day on Saturday, this happened.
Oh, the retribution.
Once again, courtesy of SNY.
And that one sails over his head.
Oh, boy.
I don't know if there was intent involved.
Oh, boy. Oh,
But
wow.
Hoskins, hands on hips, not happy about that. Well, I mean, it was so far over his head, you have to think that it just got away, but who knows?
That's got to be a warning. It has to be.
And the crew chief,
Rhys
Alonzo, engaging with Pat Murphy.
slips and he
who
wasn't
was
praying.
not happy.
Yeah. You don't need a degree to figure out what he said there.
No.
And see, you can read lips and hear what Pat's saying. Well, I like Hoskins handled it well.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
Eventually Ramirez got thrown out, as did Mets manager Carlos Mendoza. So the aftermath of that game was that Ramirez was suspended for 3 games and Mendoza was suspended for 1 game. So Rhys Hoskins is enemy number 1 in Flushing, Queens.
Yeah, but see, that to me, that's some BS because like I said, I didn't think what Hoskins did was intentional in any shape of the word. Things happen sometimes. That to me felt it's too much of a coincidence. You're going to tell me that for that particular player on that particular pitch, oh, it just got away? No. They're doing the whole old school baseball. You did something to my guy, so now I'm going to do something to one of your guys, or you threw at my guy, so now I'm going to throw at your guy. Which I've never understood the whole reasoning behind that. People are like, oh, it's old school baseball. Yeah, well, it's old school baseball where somebody could get really hurt, and you're throwing that with intention. You know, pitchers are good enough. You can tell when a ball gets away and when they put it where they want to put it to make it look like it might have slipped or gotten away. So whenever I see that, regardless of the team, regardless of who throws it, usually I dismiss it. So I guess I'm team Hoskins on this one.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, Hoskins had brought in 4 of the what was going to be the 5 runs for the Brewers. He went up having 4 RBIs in that game, all of them off of the corpse that was Luis Severino's career. And as your uncle astutely said in the comments section, Mets gonna Met.
There he is. I spoke him into existence. What brought him out was the George Costanza element. He heard it, and he joined.
Oh, I'm gonna play it again.
Yeah.
New York Yankees?
The New York Yankees!
I love that. All right, before we go to our commercial break, we're going to go to the comments section, and we've got ourselves a fact check from Dr. Lady Esquire. Says, fact check, Diamondbacks won the NL pennant last year. Yep, we went correct on that.
Yes.
Rich Castle jumping in. Sports ball also says total eclipse of the park.
Oh man, that's best comments of that goes in the Hall of Fame of comments for this show. That well done.
Total eclipse of the park. Dr. Lady, noted Angels fan, says the Angels will beat up the Marlins for your Yankees. Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate that. We appreciate that. And I believe the Angels did win last night. They went up beating the Marlins. So, so yeah, good for. I think Mike Trout had a mammoth home run to tie the score. I'll have to look into. I think he had a 483-foot home run.
Oh man, that's massive. That's massive. Those are home run derby on Wii Sports numbers right there.
For sure.
Yes, I was playing some of that over Easter with my dad.
And that's okay. Yeah. Victor Locke, aka Vicala, joining in. Good evening to the No Credentials Required guys. Victor Locke, thank you for checking in. He also says, "How are you, Espresso McCoffee?" Doing great. Had a great day. It's carrying over to this program. To Dr. Lady, who says, "Congratulations to the Yankees for no longer being the most hated team in baseball." To which Rich asks, "Who is it now, lawyer?"
Yeah.
He says, "The Asterisks."
I'll give it to you, Dr. Lady, but I am curious. What are your feelings about, because my Boston Red Sox haterade is coming out, and once again, I've got many close friends that are Red Sox fans, so this is not. But because I found that when the Boston Red Sox started winning, their fans became insufferable.
Insufferable. She also says, "Fun fact, a fan designed that classic Milwaukee Brewers logo."
Oh man, great design by that person.
Let's see what she also says. She says, "Oh yeah, didn't you know the Red Sox found Nomar Garciaparra in the bargain bin?"
Oh, you want to compare, and Red Sox fans are going to come after me for this one. I'm just getting all the ire of the fan bases, but you want to compare those two players. People tried to say Nomar was better than Jeter. The night that Jeter dove into the stands and made one of his most iconic catches, which I think was in extra innings, or I think that was a day game. It was in July, if memory serves.
No, it was. I believe it was on.
Was it a night game?
It was on July 4th, 2004.
Yeah. Okay. So you know where Nomar was? He was on the bench.
With Nomar, who's about to be traded to the Dodgers.
Yes.
Speaking of Boston, I have to play his PSA, Dustin. You know what's coming.
The following is a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
Boston.
This has been a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
Shout out.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to the great Wise El. Dr. Lady also asks, Julie doesn't remember the 2005 Dodgers, and I don't remember the 2005 Tigers. I don't remember the 1988 Dodgers. I remember. I just had my memory berries after I saw that. I remember both. She also agrees with you in regards to Rhys Hoskins. Yeah, I mean, a late slide wasn't going to do any harm. I understand the concern for injury.
Yeah, of course.
Because Mets fans had flashbacks to 2015 after seeing that. So I understand. Rich says a middle infielder just can't camp out on the bag and expect not to get collected intentionally or not. Yeah, for sure. I agree. And she says, to be fair, Red Sox and Phillies fans are always insufferable.
Oh man, Phillies fans are brutal, man. Throwing snowballs. Well, Philly in general don't want to do indictments on cities, but they're throwing snowballs at Santa Claus. They're hitting JD
batteries at Santa Claus
with D batteries. This is they're a wild bunch there. Let's put it this way, they had a jail under the stadium. I think it was at the Vet. They had a jail. You could go before a judge and just be put in jail right under the stadium.
Time to the drunk tank. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to defend the Capital Region, the Mighty 518. Stay tuned for more No Credentials Required.
Righteous Felon Craft Jerky is the official jerky of Belly Up Sports. For over a decade, Righteous Felon Craft Jerky has led the American meat snack revolution by concocting delicious, adventurous, U.S.-sourced jerky recipes for uncompromising carnivores across the country. With 15 different flavors to choose from, Righteous Felon has all jerky lovers covered, and by using promo code BELLYUP, you will get 15% off your purchase at righteousfelon.com. Do your taste buds a favor today and rip into a bag of Righteous Felon jerky.
That's right, folks. Get yourself a bag. Shameless plug. For Righteous Felon craft beef jerky. I got a box of it. I made my own box, Dustin. I made my own box, and it came in last week. I got a bunch of the OG hickory. I got a bunch of the Soul Survivor. I got teriyaki Balboa. I decided to try some Truffalo Bill, although I'm not a big fan of mushrooms or truffles. I'm going to try it because I'm an open-minded guy.
Mm-hmm.
Also got some biltong, the Darth garlic. And also got some of the beef sticks. Got the fiery habanero, and it is fiery, folks. Just going to give you a warning. And the OG hickory. And I say it gets. I'm going to say this. I'm going to go out on a limb. We haven't broken out him in a while. But Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. You, sir, have earned you, sirs and madams, have earned yourselves the No Credentials Required seal of approval. There it is, folks. There's Puppers.
Oh man, we got all the classics coming out, and I gotta try some of this. I definitely gotta put in an order myself and get my hands on some jerky. I haven't been the biggest fan of beef jerky, but it's because I think my exposure has largely been Slim Jims. I bought into what the Macho Man was selling back in the day, but I think I got to up my jerky experience and give this stuff a shot. Some of these and shouts out to the team there for the names on some of these flavor varieties. I love it, and I'm excited to get my hands on some.
Yeah, they are Pennsylvania boys, which I have a certain opinion about Pennsylvania boys, but that's okay. I like this stuff. This is good stuff. So get yourself some, and also Dr. Lady and Richie, if you wouldn't mind. We had a discussion about this in another Discord channel about Slim Jims. What's the first ingredient of the Slim Jims? I believe it was chicken. No, chicken.
Oh man,
this is 100% beef. They also have turkey jerky as well. So I'm going to get myself some hands on that jerky next time I order. And Dr. Lady also reminded me, Righteous Felon has dog treats. So if you got
okay.
So next time Puppers comes around, we'll give him a treat.
Yeah.
So get your hands on some. And I forgot to mention, Jersey G ordered a bunch for her daughter to send as a care package to her daughter in college. So, there it is. Mechanically separated chicken is the first ingredient.
Mechanically separated. Oh,
let me read some of the ingredients. All right, in this bag of Righteous Felon jerky: beef, water, brown sugar, soybeans, salt, molasses, vinegar, black pepper, natural smoke flavoring, alcohol, garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, cloves, chili powder and chili powder truffles. All good ingredients, folks.
Yeah.
Not mechanically separated chicken. Which your uncle says mechanically separated chicken is the name of my band. But no, folks, seriously, get your hands on some really excellent beef jerky, Righteous Felon Craft Jerky, righteousfelon.com. Use promo code BELLYUP at checkout. Get 15% off your order. Now, I'm fired up for this one. The mainstream media has come for Albany. Too bad they all missed. It's time to take shots at them. But let's give some context first. So the first piece of context is from a Twitter user named Kyle Bowlesby. Kyle Bowlesby is, according to his profile on Twitter, founder and president of Bowlby Sports Advisors. He's also an Iowa and Northwestern University alum, product of a lifetime in college athletics. And this is what he said on March 28th about the women's tournament selection. Quote, someone has to help me understand the women's tournament selection of regional sites, Portland and Albany. Nothing against these two cities, but why not major cities that are easy to get to? Is it lack of bidding? Lack of arena availability? Seems like there are so many better options. Denver, Charlotte, Chicago, Nashville, etc. Close quote. To which, on the same day, Doug Gottlieb of Fox Sports Radio, formerly of ESPN, also a perennial bench warmer in college at Oklahoma State, quote tweeted that and said, quote, thought the same. I get it. It was done years ago and highest bidder, but Jesus, Jeezus, with a lowercase j, are those two awful sites. Close quote. Then we get the pile on from that four-letter network who was the color commentary last night, one national champion from UConn back in the night. Mike in the next was 1995. Rebecca Sheriff Lobo. Shout out Chris Berman. Oh, look at that. We summoned him and he appears.
Oh, his entrance music summoned him.
Yeah, I must play it again then. I must
acknowledge
him. Like Roman Reigns. I got to acknowledge him.
We always.
The following is a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
Boston.
This has been a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
Good evening, sir. Thanks for stopping by, brother. Well, we gotta get you back on for more Yankees. If the Yankees keep rolling, we gotta have you talk some Yankees with us, brother.
Oh yeah.
All right. So Rebecca Sheriff Lobo. Shout out Chris Berman. Said this on a live microphone last night during the Iowa LSU, and I will say this: it was a class. I watched it at the Speckled Pig in Boston Spa. Gotta find out if we can do a live stream at their establishment someday.
Oh yeah, it'd be cool.
But this is what she said about our fine city of Albany, New York. Hit it.
Big smile from Brent and Ann, Caitlin's brothers here as well, though she told us they've been reaching out to me, and I've told them, just go find something to do in Albany. I'm staying in my room and just waiting for the game. And by the way, good luck finding something to do in Albany.
And on top of that, the Washington Post, where democracy dies in darkness because it was stabbed in a back alley behind a bar in Georgetown, wrote an article by Kareem Copeland. Kareem Copeland was the author. He wrote this on March 29th, piling on to the nonsense from Doug Gottlieb and that other guy, I can't remember his name, Bowlesby. Title of the article, Why the NCAA Women's Tournament Could Think Bigger Than Albany and Portland. To which he writes in his article, the tournament resumes Friday with region semifinal games in Albany, New York and Portland, Oregon. And there's a belief around the sport that it may be time to rethink the process in which the host cities are selected to better capitalize on the game's popularity. The regional sites are booked for the next 2 years. Birmingham, Alabama and Spokane, Washington in 2025. Fort Worth and Sacramento in 2026, with the Final Four scheduled through 2031. Close quote. All right, you snobs. Get ready for a reality check. And Dustin, feel free to back me up on this.
All right.
Because you yourself, not me, I'm not entirely a lifelong resident of the Capital Region. I was born in New Jersey, moved up here when I was 7, but I consider myself a Capital Region resident.
Yes.
Because I've been here most of my life.
Yeah.
Dustin, you've been here, you're a lifelong Capital Region fan.
I am Capital Region resident and fan. But okay, so first let me preface my let me preface before we get into any of our thoughts. We take shots at our city. We've done it. We'll
that's our thing. That's our thing.
But that's the thing. I can talk about
that's in part of the inferiority complex that we have as Smallbany.
Yes, and you hit it on the head. We can call ourselves Smallbany, but if you come in from the outside and you try to hurl insults, that's like when you got a younger brother. I can make fun of him, but if somebody tries to make fun of him, I'm going to protect him. And that's kind of the outlook I have here, but I'm going to let you lead off. I've been talking a lot this show. You did a great job setting it up. Lay it on us. Defend our fair city. For audio listeners, Ryan enthusiastically clapped his hands and put them together, and he rubbed them to get ready.
In Mr. Miyagi style.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Gottlieb, Mr. Bowlesby, Mr. Copeland. I got Mrs. Lobo. Is Ms. Lobo? I don't know if she's married or not. Anyway.
Yeah.
To all y'alls, come out my city. Don't dunk on my city. Don't try to dunk on my city, because you will fail every single time. And I'll say this because Bob Belber, shout out to Bob Belber, general manager of the MVP Arena, also known as, at one time, the Knickerbocker Arena, the Pepsi Arena, and the Times Union Center. Now, the MVP Arena, which has been, I will say this, it's not the greatest arena, but I will commend the city of Albany for the last couple of years, I'd say probably half decade, putting in the work and making the MVP Arena look absolutely positively stellar. You go to the front facade, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. But Bob Belber outgunned and outnegotiated all these other cities, all these other big cities like Chicago, like Nashville, like Miami, like Charlotte. All these big cities, all these bigger cities. He outgunned and outnegotiated them. Yes, I will admit this. Yes, downtown Albany is in a bit of a slump.
Yeah,
because of the pandemic. Shut down a lot of great businesses because of a lot of dumb, stupid, overreaching laws that really didn't need to be done that really didn't need to be enacted in the first place because of executive order. It shut down a lot of great businesses, a lot of small businesses, particularly the restaurants across the street, and the one bodega that's still there. They operate pretty well, and the Chinese place there. But those are the only two places I know of that are right next to the arena. And the pizza. Oh, it's a pizza joint, not Chinese place. Joyce, I thought it was Chinese place. It's a pizza joint. They serve huge slices. Anyway, but they've made such great improvements to the venue, and the fans of this region. And I always, it's a hobby horse of mine that we don't show up for professional sports as often as I want. And my hope is that this event they had this weekend, that momentum carries over into the professional realm.
Yeah.
Firewolves, support your local teams, folks. But I'll give credit where credit is due. The capital region, the college football region, always has been, always will be. Siena College, Albany, they've had success over the last decade. 20, actually, I'm sorry, probably say the last 30 years. Siena College has been to the NCAA tournament a bunch of times. Albany has had their bids as well, both the men's and the women's program. They've been successful. Fran McCaffrey, head coach of Iowa women's basketball, Fran McCaffrey, started in Siena.
Yes.
Started at Siena College. They took Louisville to the brink. Rick Pitino coached Louisville to the brink a couple years ago as an 8 seed. Beat Ohio State, took Louisville to the brink. Almost beat them. I think Louisville wound up winning that national title. But fact of the matter is, I'm sidetracking here. Fact of the matter is, the capital region, we represent when college basketball comes to the area, because this region loves its college basketball. Whenever the men's side, whenever the men's suite, the round of 64, whenever it's announced, I remember the first time it came to the region, sold out in minutes.
Yeah,
sold out. I think it was a junior in high school when or a senior in high school. No, I was a senior in high school when Albany was awarded the regional, the round of 64 for the first time ever. Sold out in minutes. And look, we show up. We show up. Now, did we get lucky by getting South Carolina, LSU, and Iowa, with arguably the most popular college athlete in the United States being in the regional?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We did.
That's the breaks. Don't fault Albany for willing to be a host, because they outbid everybody else. They outbid every other city. And don't fault the NCAA for moving the women's regional brackets to 2 sites only, Albany and Portland. They did this in 2021 after the pandemic because they wanted to prevent the disease from whatever. They did 2 regional sites, 2, and that's it. And it's gonna be that way until through 2026. Yeah, we got the regional. Yeah, we got the bid for the regional.
Mm-hmm.
Are you mad? Good.
Yeah.
Here's a cape. You can be super mad. And listen, look to Miss Lobo. All right, I get it. You're a legend in women's basketball. Between your time at UConn, between your time in the WNBA with the New York Liberty, you're a legend. And USA basketball, you're a legend. You're a legend with the women's game. But don't come out my city when that was your assignment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they have the choices of assignments to do games with ESPN. I don't know if you get your choice or not. But if this was your choice, live with it. Plus, on top of all this, it was Easter weekend.
Yeah.
It was Easter weekend. Even on a Good Friday, the crowd showed up. The crowd showed up all weekend long, from Friday through Monday. The fans showed up.
Yeah. Yeah. And, the thing is there's like any place, there's things people like to make, if they don't know a region, what's one of the easiest things for people to do? And this
Take
is
shots.
where, yes,
Take shots at it.
and this is where I have issue. I would venture a guess that Doug Gottlieb et al. Know nothing about the city. They've never been here. They're not speaking from experience. They're just like, oh, this is a city that's smaller than I realized. Let's take some shots at it.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's your common denominator, then you don't have much else to say. That's all it is. And the first person that tweeted, correct me, Ryan, if I'm wrong, but the first person that tweeted, he was an alum of what school? Northwestern, and what was the other one?
Northwestern and the University of Iowa.
Yes, that's why he has sour grapes, because he has to watch a star at his school, and it's not close to him. It's not in a city that he thinks it should be in. Well, tough nuggies, because as you said, Albany outbid everybody. Our money's just as good as anybody else. And it is annoying, and it's the same thing, and I get it. I've said it's BS. The term flyover states, we don't know those states. People are being like, oh, flyover states, there's nothing to do there. You don't know that. You don't know that. Every state has its cities that aren't quite what they used to be. And like I said, we're from this region. We can make the jokes, we can say the things, but it just seems so, I don't know if petty is the right word I'm looking for, but it's not a city that I expect it to be, so I'm going to be mad about it. Let's focus on what it did for the region. Let's focus on the exposure that this is one of the biggest things to happen here. Sports-wise, in recent memory, the fact that we have Caitlin Clark playing in the MVP arena, and just, I mean, we have stars, bona fide stars playing and doing more to elevate the women's game. women's college basketball, to my uneducated eye, is more popular than it's been right now. People are invested in the tournaments, in both tournaments, on the men's side and the women's side. And I am very happy to see the women getting lots of shine during this NCAA tournament run. And I'll say it, my niece really wanted to go to the game to check it out because she was excited that she could go see some badass women draining unbelievable shots. I was watching it at bowling last night as I'm bowling, and a guy and I in our league, we were running between lanes going, did you see the arc on the shot? That you know, and even my dad was saying, he goes, these women are hitting shots from everywhere. You know, it was unbelievable. And there are things to do. If you actually spent any time in the city, there are still great restaurants here. There is the Capitol. Go watch a show at the Egg. They have great stuff there all the time. There's things to do here.
Capitol Rep, Palace Theater.
Yeah.
And again, we can't really look. I don't know if Lobo was taking shots at Albany because there may not have had much to do that weekend because it's Easter weekend.
Yes.
Nothing's
and also
really going to be open.
Yes, it's true. And as you said, we have to acknowledge it. Downtown Albany is not what it used to be. I still mourn the loss of the Mary Monk. That was one of my favorite things to do.
I love the Mary Monk.
That was one of my favorite things to do. My friends Scott and Katie and I, we would go to a hockey game and we go to the Mary Monk after. Every year we did this for about 4 or 5 straight years. And when we lost the Mary Monk, it was a sad day. But there's still things to do, and I get it. It can be intimidating coming into a city where you don't know, but check on the internet, do some research. There's things to do. Don't just assume that there's not things to do because it's not a major city like Chicago or Boston or DC or something like that. And while we're at it, I've heard great things about the city of Portland. Don't be disparaging the Pacific Northwest. I still hate the Timbers, but don't disparage Portland on my watch, okay?
For as much as you pay attention to MLS soccer, you still hate the Timbers. I still hate DC United as well. But yeah, it's like it's so funny. Like the schools that these people went to: Bowlesby, Iowa, and Northwestern.
Yeah.
Doug Gottlieb, Oklahoma State. Yeah, what's there to do in Stillwater, Doug?
He went to Notre Dame too.
For what? 2 seconds? Did he warm the bench there too?
Well, go look up on Wikipedia what supposedly happened. The reason why he's out of Notre Dame. I'm not gonna disparage him on that.
No, let's not cast aspersions. We've cast aspersions enough. All right.
Yeah.
Rebecca Lobo, University of Connecticut. Is there a lot to do in Storrs, Connecticut? And this Kareem Copeland guy from the Washington Post, University of Michigan. And I'm going to quote Dr. Lady here. She makes a great point. Just a few words for the media: snobby, douchey, elitist, ignorant. Absolutely, especially when it comes to my hometown. My hometown, Albany, New York. Yes, it may have hits. It may not be easy to get to. It may not be the best town in America. It may not be the best city in America. We have our flaws. Every city has their flaws, but it's still my hometown.
Yeah,
and I'm going to defend it. I'm going to defend it from people like this in the media who disparage it. To which I say, Doug Gottlieb, come to a Firebirds game this summer. Come to a Firewolves game. Same to you, Mr. Copeland, Kareem Copeland. Same to you, Kyle Bowlesby. Come up to a game. Come up to a professional game. I'll give you a grand tour myself. I'll take you to the track. I'll take you to a Firebirds game. I'll take you to a Valley Cats game. I'll show you the town. All right. I'll give you a grand personal tour on my dime, which I don't make much of.
Yeah. And
I will give you a tour. You will have a great time in Albany.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, because you brought the track into it. So go to go catch a show at Proctor's too. There's lots of things to do. You can extend it and You know, you could say what you want, but Schenectady, Troy, there's some great restaurants there.
Yeah,
there's a lot of things. Take them to Wolf's Beer Garden, watch a soccer game, get after it. You know, there are many
Pig in
things.
Boston Spa right down the road from me. It's a great, they have great wood-fired pizza and great breweries. We have great breweries around here.
Yes, great breweries. That's what I was about to say. Are you a fan of beer? Are you a fan of good food? Because we've got some good food. Are we like a major foodie mecca? No, but we have some great food. It's just, and also I will counter a little bit because people are like, oh, it's not easy to get to. Well, it's a few hours from New York City. We're probably about 3 hours away from Boston. Jersey and Philly are close enough. What else do you want? You know, sometimes you got to travel to get places.
Yep. Yeah. So I won't disparage whatever towns you're currently in. Don't disparage mine until you've been here and lived here enough.
Yeah.
For long enough. We can make those jokes. You can't.
We can. And we have an airport.
Yeah. It's an international airport, even though we don't go anywhere.
It's undergoing a major renovation project right now.
Yeah. We're adding airlines. We've got Allegiant. We got Spirit. All right, before we get out of here, we'll take one more trip to the comment section, and we'll be off for the night. Dr. Lady Esquire saying there's really nothing to do in Sacramento though. She's lived there. She's lived there. She knows.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have intimate knowledge of Sacramento.
No. Wise El Jefe saying I was a Capital Region resident for years, and he met his first wife in Troy.
There we go.
That's awesome. He still has. He told me a while ago he's got family up here. So hopefully, hey, Wise, let's have a meeting, sir. Next time you're up in Albany, let us know. We'll come meet you for a beer or coffee.
Oh yeah, I'm down
for Robusto coffee because he's into that Robusto.
Oh man,
strong stuff, man. Strong stuff. They'll put hair on your chest if you don't have it, and even more hair on your chest if you do. Your Uncle Al saying MVP Arena is a better arena than the Arizona Coyotes play in. Yeah, they play on the campus of Arizona State University, and it's the size of Glens Falls Civic Center. It's 5,000 seats. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Your Uncle Al says, you know what to do when I'm in Storrs, Connecticut? Get the hell out of there. And Dr. Lady adding, I have never lived in Sacramento. I just have family there. Okay.
All right.
I know you lived in California. You currently live in a mountain state. I won't disclose which it is, but yeah. I love that. Oh, there we go. Bustelo coffee from.
Oh yeah, Bustelo. I've seen that. That's in the. Ooh, I'll get after it. I've seen that before.
Oh yeah.
I think.
Oh yeah. All right, folks, we're going to get out of here. Before we do that, we just want to remind you about our socials right down here. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. It's at NoCredsREQ. Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ. YouTube.com/@NoCredsREQ. Also, if you're on Rumble, give us a follow on Rumble. And also, just want to remind you to please like, comment, share, and subscribe to all our socials. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, wherever you podcast. Rate and review. Leave us a 5-star rating, please and thank you. And if you're on a platform where you can review the podcast, we'll even read it on the air. Oh, and Wise mentioned Poppy J, who he has a show with. I think it's his nephew, lives in Latham.
Oh wow.
So,
okay.
Wise, let's hook some brothers up, man. We gotta have a meeting, man. We gotta have a meeting.
Yeah. All right. We'll definitely have to figure that out. And also, go see a show at the Troy Savings Bank Music Hall. Great venue to watch a musical performance. Come on, do some research.
Unless you're tall, it's kind of a tight fit, but it's like super kind of tight. All right, folks. Thank you again for tuning in to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We're presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Gozilla Media. For Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy, and we will see you next Tuesday. Tune in, 8 o'clock Eastern.
Good night, everybody.